I'm wearing $1.1 million on my body. Inside of the safe is over $10 million worth of jewelry. Today, we're here at the Diamond District in downtown Los Angeles to meet up with Sam Karmiel, someone who sells diamonds to the wealthy and celebrities. We're going to dive into his story on how he went from working on a farm in Israel to building an 8-figure business selling diamonds here in America. He's going to share a lot of valuable advice for any aspiring entrepreneurs, and we're also going to learn a lot of secrets about the diamond industry. So without further ado, let's get right into the interview. Hey guys, so today we are here with Sam Karmiel, aka Ice Rock. You've made jewelry for some of the biggest names in the world. You do tens of millions of dollars per year. So can we get a tour of your office?
Sure, it's a pretty small office. It's an office by appointment only. Clients want to come and see diamonds before they purchase them, and then after I make the piece and they come pick it up, unless I hand deliver it to their houses. So here's my modest desk where all my jewelry and pieces are here.
That's crazy. So how much money would you say is on this table right here?
A couple of millions. We have from loose diamonds here and some green emerald, in all kind of color and shapes, as you can see, and they vary. It's not, we'll talk about it later on more in details, but overall, very important to know that just because this stone is the biggest to your eye, doesn't mean that it's more expensive than the stone next to it. It's all about color and clarity, and then size.
How much is, like, let's say this piece right here?
This piece is a necklace of emerald cut diamonds, and something like this is approximately $350,000.
So this is your desk? Is this where you sit?
Correct. This is where I sit. That's where magic is happening.
Okay.
If you want to look at the diamond, or you want to look at the piece that you just finished, you just put it close to your eye, and then you look at a piece. So for example, I'll give you this ring that I just finished. You actually do not close your eyes. Yeah. Okay. You get it closer to one of your eyes, and you don't move it. You just move the item until you see it clear. This specific one is a 7 carat. It's an E color. It's a VS2, so it's a very high color and clarity. And this one is a $325,000. I have my slogan, which is rock your eyes.
Rock your eyes. Very nice.
Right.
And then over here, you have all the cameras.
All the cameras.
How important is the security system?
Security is super important here. What we have in our building, which is in the Jewelry Diamond District in downtown Los Angeles, any room in this building is being recorded 24/7.
Okay. And then here you have a really nice view.
Super nice view of downtown LA. We actually have a gorgeous day and blue skies, and one of the reasons that I chose this office, because of this view.
Okay, so I'm super excited to hear about your story and how you built this really cool business. Can you tell us about how you got started, or your whole life story in 60 seconds?
So I was born and raised in Israel in 1979. I grew up there until I was 22 years old, then I came to the States. Then I served 4 years in the military over there in Israel, in the IDF, as an officer in the paratroopers. And after that, I went to travel as a backpacker in South America for about a year. And once I finished that trip, I just came here for 2 weeks to the States. And like every good thing in life, accidentally I met this guy that told me, do you want to work in diamonds? And I said, yeah, for the heck of it, I'm going to start just for a week or two, just to see if I like it, just for fun. After 6 years working for that company, I decided to branch on my own. And then I started Ice Rock Diamonds, which I still have until now in the past 16 years. And I did sort of in the beginning, I was a diamond dealer, buying and selling diamonds from all over the world. And then about 11, 12 years ago, I said to myself, it's not something that I have the passion anymore for. And I decided that I want to go ahead and actually make jewelry. And then I became a jeweler, and I told myself I don't want to have any jewelry line. I directly work with private clients.
So who are some of the big names that you've worked with?
I can't really say, mainly because my clients are very private.
Okay.
And I know that most people in my career and in my level love to brag about people that they work with and like to brag about celebrities they work with. I'm actually the other way around. I prefer not to say who I work with because I don't work with a lot of celebrities. I mainly work with high net worth people, and those people are people that like to stay behind the scenes.
Private.
And very private about what they buy. And they're very well-known people, a lot of them on Forbes magazine, but they don't want anyone to know that they bought this $2 million ring, $5 million necklace.
What's the most expensive piece that you've made and sold to a private client?
One of them is this 40 carat pendant that I just told you about.
Yeah.
And the other piece was a necklace with many, many diamonds that we created for this specific client, and it took about a year and a half to collect all the stones and to make that piece.
Wow.
The 40 carat pendant was priced at $6 million, and the necklace was priced at $8.7 million for one item.
So when you get a check that big or wire, what is that like?
It's overwhelming because it doesn't matter how many years I'm going to be in the trade. Every time that I get a big check, I look at it multiple times and I'm asking myself, is this real life?
Okay, so now I want to talk about the first 100 days of going to business. How'd you do it?
I remember vividly that my boss back then told me, I do not want to teach you anything about diamonds. And I said, why is that? He's like, because if you'll understand a lot about diamonds, you're not going to sell as good as if you don't know about them. So the first time I started in the business, he said, here's a backpack with $4 million of loose diamonds. Book yourself a flight and a hotel for 3 states in the United States. And I grabbed the $4 million backpack on me, hop on the first flight that I could find, and went to 3 states and knock on doors and said, hi, my name is Sam Karmiel, and I'm here to sell diamonds. And I started doing business with them. In the beginning, they used to ask me a lot of questions. So why do you think this 3-carat GVS1 Asher worth X amount of money? And I said, I don't know. They're like, what do you mean you don't know? You're here to sell diamonds. I said, yes, it's just my first week. I don't know anything about it. So basically, they understood that I don't know too much. Right. So they didn't confront me with all kinds of questions and just sat with themselves and be like, okay, I'm going to buy this one. I'm not going to buy that one. And then after my first or second trip, I'm one of those people that once I get into something, I need to know everything about it.
So you basically took that knowledge, learned at that company for 6 years, right? You said? And then when you started your own thing, what was that like?
Very scary.
Okay.
Because I had the knowledge, I knew who the clients are, but also I knew that in order to grow in the business, you have to have financial backing, which I didn't have. But back then it was much easier than today. Because back then the business was more dynamic and there was less internet involved. So a lot of people just bought from people that I like myself.
So why do you think you're successful and a lot of people, they probably have tried building a business like this and haven't succeeded?
I was one of the first adopters of Instagram when no one, thought that you can sell any item on Instagram. It just was a sharing app of pictures, right? I just started sharing pictures and videos on Instagram and I created a business out of there. So I feel like the combination of Instagram, TikTok, other sharing apps on top of being nice and on top of being transparent really helped create a big business today. My favorite part about Sam's success is he created an online presence in order to bring in most of his clients. And just like Sam, I did the same thing, creating many channels, buying dozens of domain names, and building tons of websites to get to where I am now. If you're trying to start a successful business, then you absolutely need a website, which is why I recommend the sponsor of today's video, Bluehost. Before, creating a website wasn't easy or as beginner friendly. But if you use Bluehost AI design tools and pre-built themes, you can easily generate a really professional, custom-built website within minutes. And if you know me, you know that saving time as a new entrepreneur is super important. This is basically like hiring a team to build you a fully custom website, except you aren't spending a ton of money and time. They also have a ton of digital marketing tools, e-commerce functionality, and much more to help you get started on your business. Make sure to check out Bluehost at the first link in the description for all your website needs. Let's get back to the video. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned in the last 20 years doing business? Just because someone big, rich, influential, or a celebrity is reaching out to you, you don't need to sort of like take your pants down. You should treat all clients the same way. I don't care if you are a billionaire, if you are a celebrity, or you're a guy that has $50,000 to his name and want to propose to your girlfriend. You want to treat everyone the same way, because at the end of the day, I feel like those people at the top, if they feel that you're doing, too much for them, it end up not being genuine. Can we talk about some of the numbers that you have been able to hit in the business? Let's say on a normal year, right? How much product are you moving? Like what types of sales numbers do you hit? 8 figures, and I was shocked and surprised about that. And in other years, even if I'm, hitting 7 figures in the high end of them, I'm very, very happy and proud of myself about them. What can someone expect to make in this industry in terms of like profit margins? Back in the days, those diamond dealers and jewelers used to make 3, 4, 5 times on their money on each sale. So basically a stone that started at 20 grand is ending up with the private client at $100,000. These days, it's not working like that anymore. So then in terms of like percentages for, let's say, a jeweler, what's pretty normal for the industry? So basically, if you think about overheads of a typical jeweler that has a store and has employees and has security system and has probably a few security guards. So those people usually work on a 35 to 50% margin. That's one of the reasons that I will never gonna have a store, because I don't want those overheads and I don't want my clients to pay those overheads. Hence why I have an office in this building by appointment only, and I have a very lean type of business. Hence why I can personally give, better prices in the end of the day to my clients. Let's say you go out there to Rodeo Drive, to one of those big jewelry stores. What are their margins? Do you know? Their margins are still crazy. Their margins are X4, X5. And the reason for that is mainly because they're a brand name. This is not something that I am building my brand on. I'm not building my brand on, look, I bought from Ice Rock. That's why I paid 4 times or 5 times more than I should. Hi, so we are here at my factory, and we are making all the jewelry here in downtown Los Angeles. And here we create all the pieces from rings to pendants to necklaces. So after the main stone is being put into the setting, we need to close the 4 prongs that the stone is sitting inside. After that, we're going to clean the prongs and make sure that they're super slim as the client requested. And on top of that, we're going to make sure that the stone is sitting super tight inside the setting. And after that, we're going to get the entire ring, super clean it, and voila, we have it for the client. So this is basically, where diamonds are being cut. So this is the wheel.
So the wheel has like little rivets in it. So you put diamond dust inside the rivets and you let it dry. So only diamond can cut a diamond. So that's why we do that. Once we do that, we spin it 3,000 RPM, and then we have this little contraption that holds the diamond. And once you figure out the facet, which is like a little trial and error, you basically press oil in it and then you mark the spot. And then once you find the spot, you press down on it and it cuts the diamond.
Okay, so we're here in the room
With the most important item in the office, the
This
safe.
is really cool.
Yes, it's a very heavy safe. I don't think anyone can carry it.
How did you move it here?
I did not. There are some 7 guys that moved it in. That's their job.
How much was this?
The safe?
Yeah.
A couple of thousands.
So that's not too bad.
$3,000-$4,000.
How much does insurance cost?
It depends on how much insurance you need.
Okay.
So if you have $1 million insurance, $5 million insurance, or $10 million insurance, or much more than that, it really depends. Then you pay your annual. On a $10 million, you'll pay roughly $100,000 a year.
That's 1%.
Something like that, yeah.
1% per year?
Yeah.
Have you ever had to use insurance?
23 years, never used insurance once in my life, and I want to keep it for the next 23 years.
Who puts stuff and takes things out of here? Is it just you?
It's just
your wife? Can I?
Take stuff out?
Yeah. We're not going to show you guys the inside, but
Exactly.
it's pretty cool.
So this is a few
Okay.
trays that I have inside. One tray, another tray with all kind of goodies.
How much would you say you have in here right now?
Right now, 8 figures.
How does it feel to have so many liabilities, or such high dollar amount
In
of
one
goods?
place?
Yeah.
A friend of mine that I met downstairs here told me, do me a favor, I'm longer than you in the trade. Once a week, pinch yourself and explain yourself that you're holding a bag of $4, $5, $6 million, or you have a safe with 10 or 15 or $20 million.
You think it's safer to leave the stuff here versus your actual home?
100%.
So everything is recorded?
Everything is recorded. I
anytime
know if
you
someone
want.
is opened the safe. So I have everything on my phone, and I know if someone is getting in because the cameras, and then there is an alarm, and then the building itself has a security. So it's super secured.
Can you tell me some crazy stories you've had being in this industry?
I've seen many times people fighting over a stone. When I'm saying fighting, I mean like bidding more and more over a stone just to have it because they know it's a very rare stone, and they're not buying it for their wives or their girlfriends. They're buying it because they know that one day there's going to be a higher value for that stone. So I've been into places, into rooms that people are actually bidding millions of dollars and fighting with each other in order to grab a certain stone.
Do you have any advice for entrepreneurs that's not necessarily for starting a jewelry business, but any type of business? What would you tell them?
I feel like they really need to like what they do, because I've seen a few friends of mine starting a business which they knew they can make a lot of money in that trade, but they didn't like it. What happened is that after a few months or after a year that you're into this trade and you don't really love it or addicted to it like I am to the jewelry and diamond business, you come to the point where if you have a situation when the business is not going to your liking, you're sort of like give up, and then all your effort physically, emotionally, and financially is going to the drain.
What would you tell people that are scared of taking risks?
I feel like when I was in my early 20s, most of the people in my age now told me the same thing. You have nothing to lose, so take all the risks that you can. And I've done it. And all of these things that I've done in my 20s are really beneficial in helping me these days. So I feel like what you really need to do, you need to just do it. And that's it.
What is your current marketing strategy? How do you find new clients?
In the past 10 years, my clients came mainly from Instagram and a little bit from word of mouth. And I feel that, this situation that I have it from those two sources is great, but I feel like I need to advertise more. But mainly I would say that, about 90% of my clients are coming through Instagram and 10% of my clients are coming from word of mouth.
What are some of the highest ROI activities you do on a day-to-day basis?
I feel like you should always produce more and more content, and I feel like I'm not doing it enough. Hence why I started videoing myself going to trade shows.
What would you tell your younger self if you could go back 20 years?
I would tell myself to take even more risks.
And what happens if you fail?
If you fail, because you're young enough, you have sort of like, you can always go and live in your parents' basement or ask, like $1,000 from a friend or crash at someone's house. This is something that you can do when you're in your early 20s. When you're like turning 45, it's kind of like different, and you're not being expected to do such a thing.
Right.
So I feel like even though you would fail, you can always start from the beginning.
What's the most challenging part about your business?
Financial liability is a big deal in our trade, and almost every person in our trade is backed up by someone. And not every big stone by millions of dollars is being purchased only by one person. In the trade, we have a lot of partnerships. So sometimes you'll see 20 karat stone on my desk and you'll ask me how much it costs, and I'll say, oh, this one is a $2.2 million. And you would think that it's all me. No, there can be 2 partners in the stone, 3 partners, or if it's a very expensive and big stone, it can be even 10 partners in one stone.
How would you start doing what you're doing now if you had, let's say, $50,000? Or would you just not start?
So it's funny you mentioned that specific number, because this is how I started. I had $50,000 to my name, and that's every dollar that I ever had, and I decided to open Ice Rock. And when I started, it was in a different time when you used to go and buy goods in various countries around the world. I flew to Israel, I sat there for a week, and I bought $500,000 of goods. So I committed to $500,000 of goods with only $50,000 in my bank account. And the reason that I've done it is because I got 60 days to pay those vendors. But I had to commit to myself that within 59 days, I can turn this merchandise into a profit and bring money back home. So I finished this week. I bought $500,000 of goods with my $50,000, and all those people gave me credit for 60 days. Flew to the States. From the States, flew to Hong Kong, sold all my merchandise, flew back to Israel, bought more merchandise, and that's how I started in the first few years.
So what does your life look like now? Like when you wake up, like what do you normally do? Are you traveling?
So in the past 10 years, my life has been on a plane, basically.
Traveling a lot.
Travel a lot, which I love, by the way, because I love people. So I meet a lot of new people. It doesn't have to be only clients. I meet a lot of colleagues of mine that I know from my diamond dealing days. And I always love meeting them because we exchange knowledge about certain stones that came into the market. And sometimes, I'll buy a stone from them. They'll buy a stone from me. I'll tell them that I'm looking for a specific stone for a client, and they'll search for it and call me a month later and be like, you cannot imagine, a stone that you asked for just landed on my desk. Do you want me to ship it to you so you can show it to your client, or do you want to buy it? I always like to go to trade shows. So I go to many trade shows across the world, all the way from New York to Miami to Vegas to Hong Kong and other places. So all those shows are a very great option to see what the market has to offer. And a lot of time when I'm going to those shows, I'm actually taking a lot of videos and pictures. Number one, for my content, but also because a lot of them I actually specifically individually send to clients that I know that I like this kind of material. Sometimes it can be antique jewelry, sometimes it can be loose stones. Those are things that I like to do a lot. So during these travels, it can be either to trade shows or it can be to specific private clients that are asking me to come over, show them a bunch of loose stones so they can choose one single item, and then I'm gonna bring it back home here to the office and make it into a beautiful piece of jewelry for them.
What are you gonna do in the next 10 years? How are you gonna grow your business? What things are you gonna start implementing?
I do not wanna make Ice Rock a huge company. I had many opportunities in the past 10 years to get together with the biggest diamond dealers in the world that wanted to work with me and sort of like to integrate their business into Ice Rock and to make more pieces and to sell to more clients. I don't want that because I feel like, with that comes the overheads, and with that comes the sleepless nights and too much to worry about, a much bigger operation. I'm very happy and content with the operation that I have at the moment. If that's gonna contain the same for the next 10 years of my life, that's good for me.
So what do you do with your money now? How do you invest? What's the best investment you've made?
The money that I make, that I'm putting on aside for investments, are mainly go to diamonds, so to the business, and the rest of it is going to real estate. I started with one duplex in Orange County. That's how I started 13 years ago. And since then, I grew up to, other areas and multiple places, and I'm very, very happy about that. So if I could change one thing 10 years ago, I would put more money into real estate.
More money into real estate. How about stocks though? Do you invest in stocks?
I do, but just a little bit.
Crypto?
Yes. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or not, but we'll talk in 10 years and then I'll see if my Bitcoin worth $1 million or not.
What does money mean to you as an entrepreneur and as just in general?
So money, it is a very important thing because life is expensive and we need to live and do what we like to do. And you sometimes, losing yourself in the sense of, oh, I don't have $50 million. Oh, I'm not worth $100 million. Oh, I'm not worth $200 million. This guy has a boat. This guy has a house in the Hamptons. So it's very hard to sort of like stop, be appreciative of where you came to, and not only, look up. It's very important to work hard and achieve what you want to achieve in life, but you also, many times you need to stop, each one of us, in their own pace, and be very thankful for the moment we're at.
What's something that you learned from the military that you still use day to day?
I feel like there's a few key things that you learn from being in the army. One of them is never give up. Secondly is never get a no for an answer. Also an important part is work as hard as you can. Everything and anything is possible. It just depends on how much you really wanted.
What's some final advice you want to give the audience?
Surround yourself with very good people, with people that want to see you succeed. Always try your best to succeed at what you do, and don't look to the sides too much. Be in your own lane, do whatever makes you happy.
Where can the audience find you?
On Instagram, it's called icerock_diamonds, or on TikTok, which is the same, or on my website, or just come to the jewelry district in downtown LA and ask for Ice Rock.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing all your wisdom.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, so I got completely iced out. I'm wearing $1.1 million of jewelry, which is just absolutely insane. But yeah, I hope you guys got a ton of good value from this video. I know I learned a lot. If you guys did, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe for more content just like this. We do a ton of content about entrepreneurship, personal finance, and investing. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.